So it's beginning to appear as if I'm going to have to encode the information I'm giving in a way where it literally can't be stolen unless you mention me directly. So, this is what I'm going to do. From now on, I'm going to format it, what I'm doing, through two methods. One, it's either going to be through a tier list that I've created and a way to associate the typing to Super Smash Bros. And we're going to make it to where basically if you're not a pro Smash 64 player, you can't do it. Or vice versa, if you can, then you can easily become a very good Smash 64 player. So this is how. All right, so what I've discovered is, for instance, there is a Smash 64 learning curve. That you can find on like the Smashboards website. My friend Oddjob Bob, if you look him up, his YouTube channel is Pie Lover 241. There's like some old matches on like my Facebook and his channel of like my Yoshi versus his Falcon a long time ago. And so what I realized is that level 0 on that list it's called the complete noob stage. And it is it's when you just pick up the controller, right? So I discovered that is the equivalent of the Libra 6th house, and that there are actually 5 levels before level 0, which are you progressing through from the first house to the 6th house, because to even get to the stage of picking up the controller, you had to have been born, you're in a location that can, or that can, run the game. And, and it's even like inside of the description, it says, like, a friend shows it to you, and that's kind of like the Libra, like, relating. And as I've said several times, if you go to the house after the one, really ideally 2 houses past the one you're going for, but if you go to the house after the one that you're trying to get to, then the one before it kind of just happens. So if you go to the 6th house, which has to do with routine and work and all that, then you automatically bring up like games and fun and entertainment and all that stuff. So then of course Level 1 would be the Scorpio 7th house, and that's when you learn what are called like the kill moves on there, basically, but like the hard attacks that can take a stock off, and you try to get those up, like smash attacks, B moves, really more just the B moves, the specials. They can do a lot of damage. Is like one of the first things you start focusing on, and then you've got level 2 that happens. Oh, and before I go deeper into this, I should say the other method is I'm going to really start putting all this stuff on the guitar as well, and make like guitar archetypes, and like scales and relationships between like scales and notes, and according to the scales that I've associated to be correlated with each sign. But yeah, continuing. So then level 2 would be like the Sagittarius 8th house. Which it is, the 8th house, it's like things that suddenly come up, all crisis, stuff you aren't expecting. Sagittarius is, kind of having the big picture vision and teaching and being aware of the big picture. And so and then level 2 is when it's called the dodge attack phase, or it's like when you start seeing what's coming and you start dodging it, and things like that, and you start it's either the end, I think it's the second part of 2, you start doing tilts, and like tilt attacks. And then that could also be 1, because that's got the Libra, like balancing. It could be like 1B, but it's right there. It's either 2A or 1B, but it's right in that area of things. And then you got level 3, which is the area where 80 to 90% of players get trapped, and it's where they think they're good at the game. Is how it's written on the, don't like, this opinion, it's not necessarily my opinion. I'm just saying, like, that's what it says. And so, you got level 3, 89% of players are trapped there. And it's when they start grabbing a lot. And what I've learned to associate the grab with is it's like the hallmark staple, like, it's what completely puts a restriction on or keeps someone's freedom from happening, because most of the combos, or like the really strong combos that you can do, start with a grab. And from that point, it's like you can kind of do your combo, from that point, that you built. And, or, it's centered around a grab or something like that. So then the Capricorn 9th house is, you putting like boundaries and restrictions on travel, and like, you going after status, and, becoming, climbing the mountain, becoming the best at what you're doing, mastery, things like that. And you have 3B, you try to not have to grab all the time, but you realize it's still the best thing to do, or so you think, and most people think that's all you have to do is grab. Because it comes out faster than everything else, and, like, basically that, yeah. So, level 4 is called Advanced Tech, the Advanced Tech phase. And that is the Aquarius 10th house. Because, Aquarius has to do with technology and networking, working with groups, and a bunch of people together collectively working out tech and sharing it, and stuff like that. And the 10th house, broadcasting, sharing tech that you've made, and so then you got the Pisces 11th house. There's something else I wanted to say about that actually before I moved on. What was it? Note, I may have to come back to that. Okay, so the Pisces 11th house that's part of it at least. You start to combo, but it's mostly on accident if you do. Or, that's like the level 3-ish, level 4-ish range. You like start getting combos, but they're not like ones that you remember and do again. Okay, so, and then there's a transition through all these. If you're looking at it through the Taurus archetype, because they're signs that are right next to each other, the house associated with the sign as well. And then you have Pisces, where the same kind of thing is going on, but the other way. So the Pisces 11th house, it's got the Aquarius influence leading into it because it's the 11th house. And so this is where like really a lot of people think like this is the mastery, because you can so much destroy anybody on the levels under this, which is kind of the case with 3. You completely annihilate level 1 and 2 players, and that's why people start thinking they're good. But this is like level 5 is like you're watching the people online and you're like holy shit, like it starts to become hard to tell between the people at level 5 and level 6, because technically you can because Pisces is every sign, it's like you can put every part of the game, in a sense, into the combos. They're combinations. And also I realize it's like they're constellations as well. And for me personally, being the INTP, it's extroverted intuition for me, because your second function is the 11th house. So even more so, it's really you seeing how everything, your options, your variables, how everything can connect, so, yeah, like the beginning of level 5A is when you start to combo, and it's called the mastery, mastering level. You're like making it to where you can get everything on the first try, and you're working out your combos. You start to become aware how relevant that is, and then so then 5B, you get to the point where after you land the first hit, you can do 40 to 50% damage and usually finish the player off. And it's called the fluency level. It's like basically when you go for a combo, you don't miss, or you very rarely miss, and it's not due to your own technical error that you miss. Pretty much, it's due to whatever's going on in the game. Someone tricked you or something if you miss the combo, or you can kind of add some subjectivity towards, you know, which combos you practice. And but really, you know, from how I was, you know, taught from Odd Job Bob, you don't want to go to, you don't want to call yourself 5B, which is about where I'm at, until, yeah, as far as the game goes, until you can get all of the first level combos like mastered, like where you can get them every time. And then, yeah, technically there's, you know, there can be combos you're working on, but they're not going to be like the entry level ones. They're going to be that, you know, next level of combos. So then 5C is when you can move faster, you can create like your own combos. You have like more purpose and reason behind which combo you're using, and you implement like a lot of tech features into your string of combos, you know, to cover more things in case your combo misses and things like that. So then you know, and it's like you get the really big picture of the game, or, you know, you're at least starting to, and like you start to realize how you can take things from everyday life, or, you know, the vibes and understandings of things, and put it into the game. And then like level 6 is where you're basically not like learning from other people anymore, and that would be like the Aries 12th house. It's like you are coming up with the new stuff, you know, on your own. The Frank James channel kind of reminded me of how, like, or he was saying, well, with some advice that he was giving me, he was saying how you could come off like you're an island or whatever, in reference to, like, you know, someone shaving or whatever, and like, you know, the 12th house is like, you know, when you're isolated and you're like, you know, completely doing your own thing, and it's kind of like, you know, that's the, like, in the level system, it's they call it the don't get hit stage, you know, from quoting Isai. You know, and then I think it's interesting how Aries is in the 12th house there, and it's like the isolated Aries, like the fighting without fighting, like, type of idea, or the being aware how all the hits are happening. And then it's about you spacing in the description. It's about the spacing, like being able to space around other people's hits. And this is even including the level 5 players that have like all these elements of the games mastered, like being able to out prioritize them. And that's from really having a complete understanding of everything and being on the cutting edge of it. So, yeah, and then there's a portion, and this list is even kind of old, there's a portion where it is kind of hinting at there being other levels of you being like a world champion and things of that nature. And I would actually like to theorize what those additional levels are, and before I do that, I'm gonna stop it again so like the phone doesn't cut off or something.